This is Judge Joe Brown, and we're listening to We All Be News. News-free Dixie for the 21st century.
Good evening, boys and girls, scholars and laymen, and anybody else that may be interested. I'm your host for this empowerment segment, Brother Ron, also known as R2C2H2 the Artivist, and this is We All Be News and Infotainment. Now, I got an interesting topic for today. We will be talking about today, can polygamy save the black family? Once again, can polygamy save the black family? This will be the first in the many episodes relating to this topic. I believe is a very timely and most important topic because we are living in the zeitgeist. The spirit of the times is the fierce urgency of now. A lot of things are happening. People claim this to be the age of Aquarius, the age of information, of transparency, of truth telling. So truth be told, there is a shortage of available black men to marry and raise black families. So you sisters that want a man, y'all gonna have to learn how to share y'all man. Once again, for the sisters, the black women who want a black man to start a life with, to raise kids with, you got to learn how to share your man. And so this has been a lot of controversy. I've been putting this out in social media. Actually, I've been talking to people in the streets and on the road. I've been traveling all around the country this year, traveling basically thousands of miles on the highways and byways and talking to different black folks of all walks in life, young and old, rich and poor, informed and not so informed, about the topics of the day. And one topic I could not avoid was the issue of relationships, of love, dealings between black men and black women. So it was interesting. Had a chance to check out the Bible. I talked to a deacon, a man of God, about the issue of polygamy yesterday. And he told me about Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. That's Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1 in the Bible. I'm reading the King James Version, which says, "And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, We will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach." Once again, Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1, King James Version of the Holy Bible. It states, "And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, We will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach." The word reproach means basically to address someone in such a way as to express disapproval or disappointment. The expression of disapproval or disappointment is the expression of disapproval or disappointment. That's what reproach means. So in order to be honorable, they must take the name of a man. 7 women. This is back in the biblical times. See, in that verse, they was actually addressing the issues of wartime, of men going out to war and being killed in war. So it would have been necessary for women to share a man. At least 7 women to one man due to the situation of war, and also at times when there were more girls being born than boys. Now, this is interesting. Like, people will say there are more girls being born than boys, but sometimes there's boys being born more than girls. Depends on your sources. Like, this is tricky because I always wonder, how in the hell they know how many people is on the planet? Do we really know how many people are actually on the planet? Currently, they're saying it's almost 7.5 billion people on the planet. You can actually look this stuff up. You got some websites that do stuff in real time that keeps up with how many people are on the planet. According to one website I've been looking at, the World Population Clock, and it's in real time supposedly. And I'm waiting for the current statistics to pop up. Basically, the male population of the world is at 50.4%. The current female population is at 49.6%. Once again, they said the world's population, current male population at 50.4%, and the current female population is at 49.6%. And almost 55 million people have died this year. And today, as I do this early Sunday morning, there have been almost 30,000 deaths. Now, this is still a website. It's called the World Population Clock, countrymeters.info/EN, E as in eagle, N as in Nessie, /world. Currently, males represent 50.4% of the world population, and females represent 49.6% of the total world population. Supposedly, I don't know. Numbers don't lie, but people do. But that's another story. Let me not get off topic. But in some areas of the world, there are more women than men, and there are more females being born than men in certain parts of the world. Now, you look at the African American situation in America, it's very interesting because you got more females than males. So there are at least, according to some statistics, there are at least 2 to 3 women for every black male. And a lot of this has to do with the fact of systemic racism, white supremacy. You got a lot of black men in their prime ages of 24 to 54 locked up in the American Just Us system. America got more prisoners than any place in the world. We got 25% of the world's prison population. We're 5% of the world's population, and African Americans represent way over 50% of the prison population. And what I want us to stop doing, as we talk about statistics as it relates to black people are in a special category like Native Americans, so-called Native Americans. We are in a special category. You must separate black folks from other quote-unquote so-called people of color because of our historical condition and present and current condition under these socioeconomic standards and situations. So we are in a special situation here. But you got more black women than black men, and a lot of men that would be available in their prime ages of 24 to 54 are spending time in the prisons, in the concentration camps of America. So, when I talk about this issue of polygamy, which means a person having more than one marriage partner, just to put it, plainly, and normally it's from a man's point of view, like a man having more than one wife. When I bring this up in conversation, it's a hot topic among black women, in particular, in the black community in general. Now, when I travel around the country, when I talk to black women, young and old, there are some that actually agree with black women sharing their man. They actually agree with that. All they ask is for transparency and honesty. Like, as long as he take care of home and take care of her and make her a priority, there seems to be no problem. As long as he don't bring the girl home on any other issues like a disease or a baby, there's no problem. As long as they take care of business in the home. As a matter of fact, I talked to a sister. She's in a relationship with her man. I believe they're married. And she said one time when they was in the act of having sex, the so-called other woman called. And she answered the phone, and calmly, she passed it to her man and said, "You need to take care of your business." See, she don't mind him having somebody on the side or having another woman, because as long as he pay the bills, keep a roof over their head, food on the table, as long as he does his part as a man, providing a sense of protection and security, financial and physical, whatever else it pertains in their contract, in their agreement, she's okay with it. Now, the women that seem to have the problems with this polygamy thing are single black women who are bitter. Yes, there are bitter single black women out there that say, "Hell no, I won't share my broken dick." But here's the thing. You got to have a dick to share in the first place. You don't have no broken dick, no problem. But you cry. You might cry yourself to sleep, but these are the women that seem to be in the most disagreement with the idea of polygamy. And a lot of these women claim to be biblical women, women of the church. But here's the thing about the church-going black woman. I just read a biblical verse that supported the idea of polygamy. They said that a man should marry at least 7 women and give them a proper name so they can have a sense of respect and honor in the community. Now, you can look that up. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 4, verse 1. I just read the King James Version. I'm sure there's an international version. There's other versions of it. But basically what it's saying is polygamy is A-okay with God. Now, that's another topic you want to get into that. I'm not a biblical scholar by any means. Actually, it was a man who studied the Bible that pointed this out to me, and I looked it up. Take a look. It's all online, okay? But a lot of women who do not agree with this tend to be lonely. They got no man, and some of them are bitter, and some of them confess that they are bitter about their relationship situation. Where did this idea about one man and one woman in a relationship come about? That's a good question. Is it natural for people to be in a monogamous relationship? To me, a relationship is an agreement. Any relationship is an agreement between two parties or more. And to me, the foundation of every relationship you have, whether it be an intimate one or a business one, professional one, is trust and honesty. You got to have some transparency between the partners. You got to have an understanding. See, marriage is a financial institution. Like that saying go, no finance, no romance. No romance without finance. Marriages back in the old days were arranged. Some societies and cultures still have arranged marriages because it makes a political statement. It's making a political, social, and financial statement because the purposes of a marriage is to elevate one's standing in society. It's a business merger. It's branding. I know that sounds kind of cold and harsh for a lot of people, but this phenomenon about being in love and all this stuff is recent phenomenon used to sell stuff to people. It's propaganda. And that's another, and like I said, this is going to be the first of many podcasts in this series about polygamy and how it affects the black community. I believe very much so that we need polygamy in the black community, considering our dire situation in terms of we need examples of caring black male-female relationships. Our children and all our people in general, but our children in particular, need to see black men and women caring for each other, having a productive, positive home life. We need to counter all this negativity and toxicity we see coming from popular culture and from the media as it relates to black relationships, black love. We need to counter that with a different narrative. See, we always had, like people tell me, we always had this quote unquote polygamy thing in our community. But what I don't want anymore is for folks to go to the funeral of a loved one and to find out that they had brothers and sisters that lived across town, across the country, or even next door that they were not aware of. That could be very damaging. And the reason for that is because people are not honest about what they expect out of their relationships. They're not honest about the things they really want and desire. It cannot be cheating unless you do not. Here, let me back that up. Relationships are very personal things. Like love relationships. Like people sometimes feel like it's their duty to tell a person who's in a relationship about their man or woman. Oh girl, I saw your man at the mall sitting down with another female. It's not your damn business. Or hey bro, I saw your lady with a dude at this place. Why are you telling them this? You don't know the particulars of their arrangement. It is none of your business what people do as relates to their relationships. It's their business. I don't know what type of relationship they have. I don't know what type of rules of engagement or code that they go by. See, we got to stop letting society and peer pressure and other entities and variables affect how we create our relationships with people we care about. You need people coming to the table that are honest. Like, for example, polygamy. People think there is some type of pimp and hoe arrangement. Like, where the man is getting the benefit because he get to screw all the women he want and get to tell the women what they do. That's not true. If you look at that biblical verse, it allows for women to be their own person. It says, get your bread and your own clothes. But let a man vouch for you in terms of your honor. You could do your thing, but just have a man that accepts you doing your thing. Maybe that's a form of submission, but really, freedom ain't free. You know, we all gotta submit to something, even the man. And really, the women are partners with the man in a polygamy situation. They are partners. And this is so important. The reason why I bring up polygamy for the black family is the fact that the strongest thing, the real Trinity, the real Holy Trinity, is the black man, woman, and child. The real Holy Trinity is the black man, woman, and child. Okay? Black man, woman, and child. We were stronger. We were at our strongest in this country when the black family unit was on the front lines, helping and loving each other. Study Montgomery bus boycott. It was a black family affair. Black women organizing, black men organizing, black men protecting black women, walking home, starting carpools, black family working together. Project C Birmingham, black kids going to jail, standing up for themselves. When the black family got reunited, that's when we were at our strongest. One of the first things black folks did after the so-called Civil War was try to find family, search for family. You know, think about the 40s. We had Rosie the Riveter. You had these white women and women going to work in the factories up in Detroit and in the Rust Belt, in Ohio and places like that. And because a lot of the men were going out to war. And when the black women were being discriminated against by the white women at the auto plants in Detroit, it was the black men saying, if you don't respect our sisters, we're going to quit. And not only did these auto plants have to bow down to the black man speaking up for his black woman, but they actually gave her a raise because black women, in some cases, had to eat their lunches in the restrooms because the white women would not allow it. So you think about, fast forward now, where we had this situation in the country where you had more white women voting for Donald Trump, Mr. Grab Your Pussy, than for Hillary Clinton, who's a so-called feminist and would have been the first woman president. But yet you had almost 100% black women vote for Hillary. But yet it was the white women that betrayed so-called Hillary, that so-called betrayed Hillary. So the white woman did a Pied Piper thing, convincing black women, hey, be independent. You can have it all. You don't need no man. You don't need no family. You don't need no man. Do it on your own, sister. And now you got a situation where the white woman said, I'm going to put race before gender. I'm going to stand by my man because I believe in my man. White feminists never want to destroy their man. I repeat, white feminists, their goal was to never destroy their white man. They just wanted to be respected and more appreciated by their white man. They did not want to emasculate their white man. They wanted their white man to give them just some more respect. Whereas you got black feminists, not all of them, but a lot of them, they're trying to destroy black men. They're trying like the black man is ruining their lives. And black men don't have such power in a system of white supremacy, racism, to ruin their lives. And if there are black men who are so-called ruining their lives, they're working on behalf of the so-called white man, on white supremacy to ruin your lives. They're not advocating for the black male species to ruin your life. Because the black man was the black woman's best friend at one point. And we could talk about how some of the black sisters betrayed black men over the years. And like I said, this is not going to be an all one podcast show. This is going to be a series talking about polygamy. But I just want to raise those issues. We was always at our strongest when you had the black man, woman, and child. Somebody like Fannie Lou Hamer, one of our greatest freedom fighters and black leaders, who didn't know until she was in her 40s that she can quote unquote vote, who lived on that plantation all her life, who was sterilized by the state of Mississippi against her own will, a form of eugenics, thank you very much. She knew what that white feminism was no good for the black movement. She always put the black family first. So I want to think about that. So how can we save the black family? Think about in slavery, you have a figure Like Sojourner Truth, I believe they say she's a feminist or woman rights leader, advocate. But even you look deeply at her story, Sojourner Truth was a very, very powerful, very influential woman. She never learned how to read or write, but she was one of the greatest orators of her time. She was a very striking figure. She was 6 feet tall. But because of slavery, she had to restart families over and over again. She had to restart several families because white supremacy broke up her families and sold her kids and other people off to different plantations. So she had to start from scratch every time. But look at her example. But she understood the value of having a family. Richard Allen, one of the founders of the AME church in this country, understood the value of family. Denmark Vesey, all these religious figures in the church, in the early black church, understood the value of having family, trying to get their family out of slavery, raising money, saving money, all that stuff. But the black family is integral to liberation and empowerment of black people in this system, to overthrow the system of white supremacy. Because they know that black unity defeats white supremacy every time. Because black power is based on solidarity and unity. White power is based on divide and conquer. Let me say that once again. Black power is based on solidarity and unity. White power is based on divide and conquer. And there's a New York Times article that came out last year that talk about 1.5 million missing black men. Now, I know Baba Dick Gregory brought up this point about 1.5 million missing black men. In the article, it talks about how this has impacted the black community. I hate to say the word community because we don't have a community. The black group of people that identify as black in this country. How that's impacted, our situation in terms of our family union and our prospects for true freedom. So, like I said before, polygamy may be the way for the black family unit. And women, people saying black woman is God. Black women are divine. They are very beautiful, very powerful, very resourceful group of people. But at the same time, black women must have some accountability for the brothers they choose to have kids with. Once again, black women must be held accountable for the brothers they decide to breed with, okay? Because if you are God, then you have the power of life and death in your womb. If black woman is God, then she has the power of life and death between her legs, okay? So if you want to play God or want to be God, you got to, accept those God responsibilities. So that's another thing. So how do we get black women to make better decisions? Well, we got to have her have a proper starting off in life. She got to have a proper foundation so she can have a good start in life. And so she can have a foundation where she can build a very successful life on. So that comes from her seeing a loving, grown, black adult relationship. When she's coming up in the home, she's got to see that. When she's in her quote-unquote community, she got to see black men and women in loving and productive relationships. Same thing for black boys. They must see a black man loving and honoring his black women. That's important. So you got a lot of people right now that's out here, they don't have those examples, and when they start families or try to start a family or bring kids into this world, they're actually destroying other lives. You understand? Because they have not seen that type of love. So how do you get that in the home? You got to have knowledge yourself. So it's important right now for black folks to be able to put themselves in position to control their education. Like Brother Malcolm X once said, only a fool will let their enemies be the primary educators of their children. Once again, only a fool will let their enemies be the primary educators of their children. When I see black folks not telling their kids the truth, you setting your kids up to be the next targets and victims of white supremacy, racism. When we refuse to tell our children the truth, we are setting them up to be the next targets of white supremacy racism. You understand? So the purpose of a black family, of polygamy, can help create a sense of community, a place where black children and women can feel safe, can feel provided for, a place where a black male can transform into a black man. Because in this system, a lot of time when you deal with us as black people, it's arrested development. This system will not allow for black males to become black men or black females become black women. And if we do become those things, we're always paying the cost. Like people say, I'm afraid to be like so-and-so because they killed them. Well, when you say that, that means you're afraid to be who you are, to be a man, to be a woman. And we make excuses for we want to be everything else. We want to be free, but yet we can't be what God made us to be. See, there's a problem. You want to talk about you want to be that and this long, and then like the system will allow for you to do things to yourself that's detrimental to your well-being and to the existence of your people. Once again, this system will allow you to do things to yourself that are very detrimental to your survival and the existence of your people. You need to study all the things that this system does. I'm not talking about all the things that are easy to see. I'm talking about some of the nuanced things, some of the subtle things, some of the things that are very sophisticated that this system does in order for the victim to make themselves feel like that they are the biggest reason for their problems. Now, like I said, we got to control our education. So our kids need to know about Marcus Garvey as well as Mansa Musa and well as the dynasties of Africa and all this stuff. We didn't know about the things we done in the past in order for us to do things in the future. But we got to believe in ourselves today. So that comes with controlling our education. We got to start controlling our food supply. One of the biggest things they did to black folks in the 20th century is got us off that farmland. When we lost our connection to the land, we lost a sense of our identity as well as our inheritance. Once again, when we lost our connection to the land, we lost a sense of identity and inheritance. Because there were things that black folks did with the land that empowered us. You know, your great-great-great-grandma had home remedies that she was able to produce because she was close to that land. You know, black folks didn't get sick or they were healthy. You know, that hamburger that your grandparents ate back in their time, or great-grandparents ate, or great-great-grandparents ate while they was out in the country, that was a real cow, right? That was a real chicken. It was no Monster Inc. beans. There was no Monsanto. There was no Monster Inc. Crops they were growing. That was real crops from the earth, original seeds, all that stuff. So we lost our connection with the land, and a lot of it had to do with white terrorism, with the Klan, with other things. But really, white supremacy forced us off the land. We lost a lot of our generational wealth. Think about Wilmington in 1898. Think about Rosewood. Think about Tulsa. Think about all the other cities and towns that we don't know about that were eliminated and wiped out the map by white supremacy, racism, and greed. Think about all the land that was lost in the process. That's generational wealth. Real estate is a form of generational wealth, and we lost our access to that. So we really got to get back to basics as a people. And I think one of the things that will help us would be polygamy in terms of providing great examples of black love, of black men and black women loving and honoring each other, of showing how to create family wealth, family generational wealth. You got to think about it. Like in that Bible quote, in that biblical quote, it talks about women making their own way, you know, making their own food, money, whatever, and contributing to the relationships. Think about if you had, let's say 3 women. If you know, they say there's enough, there are about 3 women to every one black man. There are about 3 black women to every one black man. That's the statistics in some cases. And so think about that. If you had 3 black women and 1 black man, let's say everybody made between 50 to 100,000 each annually. If everybody made 50 to 100,000 each, and let's say that we lived on some land, we bought some land. You think about how much rent and mortgage costs. We could pool our resources together to buy a large property. We could build our homes on these properties. We could build a large home or separate homes on this property. We all help paying the mortgage. We all can do a thing where we have a family, a joint family account where we put we quote unquote tithe some of our money into that family account, and people could still be allowed to have their own personal accounts for their own thing. But we all have a large joint family account, and we all have our own personal accounts as well, banking, checking, and savings, whatever like that. And the women will be partners. Like the first wife, she will be kind of like if the man is the president, the first wife will be the chief of staff. She's responsible for scheduling. She got the power. She's responsible for a lot of things in the household. And yet the women will also have their own households within the household, their own mini households, but she's responsible for the overall household. So this could be a very sophisticated form. Like the women will have a voice. The women will not be what people think like they're very submissive. They won't say anything. They're not allowed to have any input. Now, in the system I'm thinking about, the women will have input. They would have a say. They would be involved in the operations of the household, of the family. And so that's one thought I have about it. Because like a lot of times I talk to some women, they fixate on the fact that he's going to be screwing. It's all about sex. His broke dick ass can't screw one woman right. See, that's the wrong attitude to have about this thing. So that's thinking it from a very low frequency point of view, a low vibration point of view. I'm thinking of higher vibrations. I'm thinking about, a code, rules of engagement. That's being clear and transparent, because the young people in this so-called age of Aquarius, in this so-called age of transparency of information, the reason why they are rebelling against the so-called institutions, even the Institute of Marriage and other church, a lot of young black people are not going to the black church. The black church is like a dinosaur on its way out, because they cannot recruit and retain young black people, because they look at the hypocrisy of the black church. And see, to me, a hypocrite is not a person who says one thing and does another. It's a person that who won't admit that they say one thing and do another. Like if you tell me to go by this, but yet you doing all this, that's confusion. That's a lot of contradictions. And the way you overthrow systems and institutions and governments is for people to keep on amplifying the contradictions. You must amplify the contradictions, because in that way the people will see what's going on, and it develops a critical thinking mechanism in the people. So they say clearly something's not right with this picture, because they saying one thing, but yet I see them doing this stuff. So really it undermines the good stuff. So what we got to do now is stop letting the so-called bad stuff undermine the good stuff. Because yeah, people are complex. People are contradictory, but you are a hypocrite when you will not admit that people are complex and contradictory, and that you do not do anything to resolve those things. So right now, I think we have a great start, because really we're going that way. Gay marriage. The next thing, you got people pushing for sex with animals. Why not polygamy? And to me, polygamy is not a crazy thing. And I can see it actually becoming law within the next 15, 20 years. Because people are already practicing this form of polygamy. I mean, the foundation of the Mormon church was polygamy. And they was able to accrue a lot of power over the years and generation because of that institution. Because marriage is a financial institution. So I think black women, if you want a man, you got to get with the program. If you want a black man, you have to get with that program. And one thing I have learned about some black women, that a lot of black women cannot get along, especially when it comes to dick. A lot of black women cannot get along, especially when it comes to dick. And it's interesting, you go to a place like Atlanta, where there's a lot of black women, a lot of single black women who are successful. So that's another thing with this white feminist. They had black women for a generation or so thinking that they don't need a man. They don't need a family to be successful. Yeah, it's great that you got your college degrees because black women are the most educated, or one of the most educated, if not the most educated group of people in America. Black women. There are more women going to college than men, period. But black women are some of the best educated people in this system. When I say educated, I'm not necessarily talking about conscious or woke. I'm talking about educated in terms of degrees accumulated, in terms of professional jobs, in terms of that type of stuff. From a business academic point of view, they are very well versed in this system. But yet a lot of them are not having kids. They don't have a man. They don't have a family. So really your greatest legacy time is to be fruitful and multiply. So if you have all these so-called trappings of success, why not have children? If you got the resources and wherewithal to take care of these children. And then there's another thing, a lot of women make more money than their man, than their male counterparts. To me, that doesn't bother me because there's other things to bring to the table besides just money. Because if you date somebody like Oprah, I'm sure ain't too many brothers that got more money than Oprah. You know what I'm saying? So you date a sister like that, you gotta be secure in your own manhood because it's something you could bring to the table that money could never buy. And you gotta figure out what that is for you and what that is for her. Because there's certain things I bring to the table that goes beyond a dollar. The dollar don't really, it does not tell you how valuable of a human being you are. It is a great indicator. Money, to me, is not the ends. It's a means. It's a tool to acquire the things you want out of life. But money is not everything, but money is an important thing in this system. Let's not kid ourselves of that. But at the same time, what is more important is you having knowledge of self. Because your wealth status can change at any time. The world is not really as stable or as secure as we think. We are living, a lot of us are living a false sense of security. So, but with that said, all human beings are social beings. We are made to be social. We are made to be loved and to give love in return. So you look at a situation like Atlanta, where you got women that are looking for men. You got more women than men. A lot of very successful black women, but they are alone in their childbearing years. They don't have, and then a lot of them settle for brothers who might go both ways, gender fluidity, whatever that nonsense is. You call it what you want to, but my thing is this: they let you do everything under the sun, but if you stand up for yourself, they cut you down. And that's what a lot of us are afraid of, all that fear. But yet we go to church, we say we believe in God, we tell them we cover in the blood of Jesus, and we tell them that, God could be for me, who's against me, and yet we afraid to swing our things, to stand up for ourselves by any means necessary. You say stuff like that, we get all choked up and all frozen with fear. Like Dylan Roof said, I attacked the black church because it's weak. I'm paraphrasing now, but he said, I can't shoot at the black drug dealers because they'll shoot back at me. But I went to the church because I know I could get them easier. And what they say about us in this period, we're very vulnerable. I had read an article recently, you probably could Google this up online, about a sister who talking about, did the black church betray the black women in terms of, did the black church make black women single? Now, I'm just paraphrasing it, but I'm sure you can find out. Came out in the last couple of months. The sister talking about how she was a devout Christian and all that stuff, a devout churchgoer, but her mama died alone, and she's afraid to die alone, that she'll never be married. So you got a lot of black women, because we got the idea of one man, one woman, would never experience the thrill of being married to a man. Because we got this backwards way of thinking about the institution of marriage as it relates to black love. And like I said, we're a special group. We like the Native Americans at Standing Rock. We need special access and privileges, okay? Because the system did a number. And the ironic thing about Hillary is that her and her husband, with their crime bill in 94 and with the private prison boom, they are, in a way, very responsible for the reason why there are so many single black women in America. Once again, black women loyalties. Almost 100% voted for Hillary, and she's the reason. Her and her husband are the reasons. They are the symbols of why You don't have a black man right now. While your kids may not have a black father. You know, let's watch the documentary, The 13th, on Netflix. But like I'm saying, we undermine our own interests. Black people are the only group on a consistent basis in this system that undermines our own best interests. And yet we call ourselves so-called educated and woke. Woke to what? More like sleepwalking. Okay? So polygamy, that might be the way to save the black family. Now I talked to women. They said, yeah, a lot of our brothers in jail. We didn't talk about that, but that's long term. Advocate for that. Advocate for more awareness about how black men and women are being treated in the system. But the short term, with the option of being a long term, will be the polygamy road. And there are black women out there that I feel are very open-minded to this idea of polygamy. And there are some black women that may be afraid to go along with this because of what other people may think about them. Who gives a damn about what other people think about you? You are responsible for you. Happiness, like Abraham Lincoln said, is a choice. Happiness is a choice. You either choose to be happy or not to be happy, but it's on you. Your life is yours. You are the lead actor or star, director, screenwriter, producer of your movie. Your life is your movie. You choose the theme: horror, comedy, dramedy, science fiction. It's on you. It's your life. Have fun. Love thyself. Know thyself. And be thyself. So this is my first shots fired on this issue. Brother Ron, if you like what you heard or if you don't like what you heard and you want to comment, please feel free to comment. Share this information. Please support the We All Be movement, because it's our movement. And this is misconception on these knuckleheads, so-called conscious or conscious people. They will tell you, knowledge is free. No, I pay the price for what I know. You always pay a price. Nothing that's worth having is free. Nothing worth having is free. So don't come with that knowledge. The people who say that, a lot of them just intellectually lazy. They lazy, they unethical, they dishonest, and they should not be trusted. Like I said before, our people perish because of lack of knowledge. That's biblical, but at the same time, our people perish because we don't have any type of self-love, self-respect, and ethics when it comes to us. We got that mindset. And like I said, I truly believe polygamy, in terms of providing examples of black love, of black commitment, and black excellence, could be one way for our people to save the black family. So with that said, family, if you like what you heard, share the word. Point people to our YouTube channel, our station, because I'm going to have more things coming out. I'm going to be like prolific like Tupac over the next couple of days with all this information. But I just want to get that out there because it's been on my mind for about several months about polygamy. So I'll have some more information on that. And feel free to donate to the cause. To our PayPal link. Email address is r2c2hu@gmail.com. Once again, that's alphabet R, numeric 2, alphabet C, numeric 2, alphabet H, numeric 2 @gmail.com. Feel free to donate to the cause and also contribute to the discussion. In the words of Great Duke Ellington, we love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing.